We have celebrated the beatification of our founder, who himself was a victim of a coronavirus pandemic in 1890. Blessed Michael McGivney, now close to the final step in the process of canonization, is even a greater inspiration to us and to other Catholics throughout the world. We know that the process of canonization is not undertaken for the good of the candidate. We are sure of Father McGivney's holiness and his place in the house of the Father. We understand that the holiness and example of Father McGivney is today being lifted up for our good as the Knights of Columbus and for the good of Catholics everywhere the Knights of Columbus is present. Today, our good work circles the globe, stretching from North America to Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and the Pacific. Father McGivney's great achievement was to find a practical means to strengthen his center, that is, his own parish community, while extending a Catholic influence into the well-established and often hostile periphery of the larger American society. And in founding the Knights of Columbus, he opened a practical path for millions of men to follow him in living a life of charity and brotherhood. He called his brother knights to live a life of charity, according to the admonition of St. Paul. Love one another with a brotherly affection, and do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. In this way, Father McGivney anticipated by nearly a century the Second Vatican Council's call for the laity to transform society by the light of the gospel. Today in America and in many other countries in which the order is active, we experience deep divisions in society and social evils similar to those faced by Father McGivney, grinding poverty, prejudice, violence, and alienation. Father McGivney's vision of a brotherhood of Catholic men who bring into their families, their parishes, and their communities a new sense of charity and social fraternity is needed as much today as during Father McGivney's life. This is another reason why I believe Father McGivney has been beatified, to propose to our fellow Catholics that his life, holiness, and vision are an example to follow. And yes, I would say also that his beatification is an encouragement to our fellow Catholics to join the Knights of Columbus in the great work of charity and unity. We know that Father McGivney died during the pandemic of 1890. Some have suggested Blessed Michael McGivney be regarded as a patron in time of pandemic for the millions sick with the coronavirus. In this, we can all see the hand of providence. Once again, we can see another dimension as well. The coronavirus pandemic has spread suffering and death to millions. Its effect on our church has also been dramatic. Some predict it may advance the secularization of Europe by a decade and may diminish mass attendance by as much as 25%. These predictions follow the steady, decades-long decline in sacramental practice by Catholics throughout Europe and North America. Although time does not permit a country-by-country review, the situation in the United States provides a disturbing example of the extent of the problem. Since 1970, the United States has experienced a steep decline in virtually all categories. Two trends are especially important. The number of infant baptisms has gone from more than 1 million per year to less than 600,000, and sacramental marriages have fallen even more sharply, from more than 400,000 per year to less than 150,000. Today in the United States, the fastest rising category is the most disturbing. Adults who were raised Catholic, but who now no longer identify as Catholic. They have gone from 3.5 million in 1970 to nearly 30 million. Now, the clergy abuse scandal certainly contributes to this crisis. But the fact that these trends preceded these scandals by decades suggest other reasons for the decline. We know that in establishing the Knights of Columbus, Father McGivney sought to keep the men and families of his parish firm in their Catholic faith. In other words, he wanted to keep them Catholic. He was a shepherd who sought to keep his flock within the fold. He wanted to keep men from joining secret societies, many of which were anti-Catholic. That was one of the great dangers of his day. The other great danger was the threat to widows who were unable to prove they could financially support their children, and thereby they risked having them taken away by the state and placed in institutions that were often anti-Catholic. The Knights of Columbus was his answer to both these dangers, and the early popularity of the order reflected just how effective the order was in answering these needs. Today, we once again see many Catholics leaving our church, and many others being unable to participate in Mass and the sacraments as a result of the pandemic. In recent years, many dioceses have responded to the increasing number of lapsed Catholics with programs encouraging them to come back home. These programs are good and will be needed in the future more than ever. But there is a better way for the long term, and that better way is to follow the example of Father McGivney. Let us work to keep our fellow Catholics from leaving in the first place. And I think that the best way to do that is to get them active in the Knights of Columbus. Now, we may all know someone who has left the church, but I do not know of a single case where an active brother knight has done so. What Father McGivney's beatification tells us is that membership in the Knights of Columbus is a providential way to live the Catholic faith today. And by living our faith, we soon have a living faith. Our Catholic Church faces a severe crisis. It has been gradually building for decades, but with the pandemic, it has now reached a new level. The situation today requires the renewal of our parish communities, and that in turn requires a re-examination of our approach to parish ministry. Let me be very clear about this point. A parish-based council of the Knights of Columbus is not a parish ministry. That was never Father McGivney's intention in 1882, and it is not our intention today. For many years, we have encouraged the formation of parish-based councils. These councils can support our pastors in their ministry. They can strengthen our parishes by encouraging more families to participate in the sacramental life of our parishes. They can help our parishes be places where the gospel is lived more fully and the practice of charity is a greater reality. And we will do all this by our witness. Like Blessed Michael McGivney, parish priests today need to adopt a missionary attitude toward their own parish, and like Blessed Michael McGivney, focus on evangelization directed toward keeping their parishioners within the church, as well as getting greater cooperation with lay organizations such as the Knights of Columbus. Reversing these trends will be an enormous task that will require clergy and laity working together. In fact, it will require all of us putting our shoulder to the wheel in the days ahead. We must all, like Father McGivney, have a missionary attitude. Blessed Michael McGivney did not simply start a new fraternal organization. Instead, he showed us a new way to live the witness of a Christian life through a brotherhood devoted to charity and unity, and in this way, to grow stronger in the faith. St. John Paul II reminds us, the first form of witness is the very life of the missionary, of the Christian family, and the ecclesial community. That is the Knights of Columbus today, and it can be even more so tomorrow. If we take up this challenge, then we can help lead a true renewal of our parishes and of our church in the days ahead. I would like to recall some things I mentioned during my report to the Supreme Convention last August. I know you will agree with me that the Knights of Columbus is something very special. Our unique character can be found in 3 words: charity, unity, and fraternity. words that express three of the most important dimensions of our lives. It would not be too much to say that these three words put the human in human existence. In 2018, we began a 3-year cycle to more fully understand and live these principles. When the Supreme Council met in Baltimore in 2018, we met under the banner Knights of Columbus, Knights of Charity. Then last year in Minneapolis, our theme was Knights of Columbus, Knights of Unity. And earlier this year, when we met virtually, our theme was Knights of Columbus, Knights of Fraternity. During these 3 years, we came to better understand how our principles of charity, unity, and fraternity combine to offer us the opportunity to live more fully the Christian life. That was one reason we introduced the new combined exemplification of charity, unity, and fraternity. We know that the Knights of Columbus is much more than a service organization. Our dedication to charity and unity is exemplary, but what really sets us apart is our commitment to fraternity. It is our fraternal approach to charity and our fraternal approach to unity that makes us so different from other charitable organizations. And it is our fraternal approach to insurance, by Brother Knights, for Brother Knights, that sets us apart from ordinary life insurers. In Evangelii Gaudium, Pope Francis writes, "I especially ask Christians to offer a radiant and attractive witness of fraternal communion. Let everyone admire how you care for one another and how you encourage and accompany one another." What we should understand from these words is that Pope Francis sees fraternal communion as one of the keys to renewal of our church. As you know, as Supreme Knight, I have met with our Holy Father privately on many occasions. And on this occasion, I want to tell you that when he says, "I especially ask Christians to offer an attractive witness of fraternal communion," I am convinced he really means it. And what's more, I believe he looks to us for that witness. My brother Knights, living in fraternity is what we do every day in 1,000 different ways in Knights of Columbus councils throughout the world. It is this commitment to fraternity that gives us the fraternal strength to do the work of charity our times demand. It is our special difference. In the 2 decades that I have served as Supreme Knight, I have come to believe that it is our fraternal strength that is the distinctive hallmark of the Knights of Columbus. Our charity is so different than ordinary philanthropy. We are not about the idea, as good as it is, of looking at the end of the month or at the end of the year and seeing whether there is a little surplus left over in our accounts that we could use for philanthropy. Fraternal charity is something different. When a member of the family is in trouble and one brother reaches out to help another brother, or a father helps a son, or a mother helps a daughter, do we consider that to be charity, or is it something else? Fraternal charity lifts our relationship with others to a higher level, to a Christian level. It arises from a spirit of gratitude for the gifts the Lord has given to each of us, and that we in turn share with others. It is this spirit that sets apart Christian charity, and it is this spirit that sets apart the Knights of Columbus. I have mentioned several reasons why I believe that the beatification of Father McGivney this year is a providential sign given at this time in history for the good of the church and society. And I would like to mention 2 more reasons. First, for the past 2 decades, our church has been terribly wounded by the painful events that have come to light in regard to clergy abuse. We continue to pray for healing of the victims, reconciliation, and renewal. Perhaps more than ever before, we need the example of a holy parish priest, one who was devoted to the welfare of his parishioners, and who was known during his lifetime for his humility and holiness, to be lifted up as a model for today's young men who are now studying in our seminaries or who are considering a vocation to the priesthood. We need the example of a holy parish priest to be lifted up today for the benefit of the thousands of dedicated priests who are devoting their lives to parish ministry. The beatification of Father McGivney is a providential sign to them. I ask you to make promotion of vocations a priority in every jurisdiction, and to do so through the intercession of Father McGivney. May Blessed Michael McGivney be a blessing and example to every man considering a vocation to the priesthood, as well as to every priest. Second, we must all prayerfully reflect on the meaning for us as leaders of the Knights of Columbus, on the details of the miracle attributed to the intercession of Father McGivney. I mean in particular, the fact that the miracle occurred within a Knights of Columbus family, where the father is one of our successful insurance agents, that the miracle occurred in a child before his birth, that both the life-threatening condition and its healing was discovered by ultrasound technology, that the physicians recommended abortion as an answer, and that today the child is healthy and beautiful. Do we not see in all these circumstances the hand of providence encouraging the work and the mission of the Knights of Columbus? Some may see this miracle as an extraordinary way for providence to say to us, "Well done, good and faithful servants." But for me, it sends another signal. The work of the Knights of Columbus is needed today, now more than ever. Now is the time to do even more, to reach even higher, and to bring even more men into our ranks. My brother Knights, I have sought in these remarks to give you a sense of why I believe the beatification of our founder is a providential sign of the importance of the Knights of Columbus to our church and our society, and why it is that the life and holiness of Blessed Michael McGivney is so important to the lives of each one of us, individually, and for the Knights of Columbus as an organization. As you participate in the upcoming sessions of our meeting, I ask that you keep in mind these considerations. The beatification of Father Michael McGivney has lifted the Knights of Columbus to a new level. Now, in the light of his shining example, let us write the next glorious page of our history. May Blessed Michael McGivney pray for us. Vivat Jesus.
Here we are in the middle of the game, and so I thought it would be appropriate for me to treat this like a coach in halftime and give you a halftime update. So, of course, that always starts with a recap: what went well, what didn't go well, and make some adjustments. So what went well? And what didn't go? Well, let's look at our the things that we can be proud of with our order. 2 million members. We broke that that magic number of 2 million. We give me a moment. Okay. We reached 113 billion of insurance in force. We reached the number of 1,200 ultrasound machines. The estimates of how many millions of lives that has saved can range from hundreds of thousands to millions. But I think a reasonable estimate is about 50 or 60,000 lives every year. So we donated $187.6 million to charity last year and 77 million volunteer hours. And of course, the great thing that happened this year, our beatification of now blessed Father Michael J. McGivney. And what didn't go so well? Well, we all know that this dreadful pandemic hit us. And many of us, well, we all shut down initially. We went to virtual meetings, those of us who could. Some had difficulty with that. We went to virtual programs. We had some great programs last year. The Supreme Night brought out the new Leave No Neighbor Behind initiative, of which number one on that initiative is support our brother knights, of course. And support of our parishes and communities is important after that number one, supporting our brother knights. And of course, this added to our existing Faith in Action program. And we were encouraged, and I encouraged everybody to make faith a high priority, to work on your prayer life, on your spiritual life, and so emphasize the faith programs in the Faith in Action series. We brought out some incentives, some of which, well, we were quite excited about, but you know, they didn't all go down very well, or even be recognized. We provided technology help because much of this was new to us, so we needed help in being able to do virtual meetings and trying to work in a virtual environment, a safe environment. We provided training. We have training on the website of different things, of how to set up Zoom meetings, of how to work on your website. And we've also got our regional training director, John Olson, who you will hear from shortly, who was training us how to do Delta drives and other great ways to recruit and to work our programs in this environment. We provided some competitions. We have a regional competition, which is new for this year, the Regional Membership Cup. You may have seen that on the website or in our newspaper or in the supplement online. And each month I publish the standings, and so we can see how we're doing. And I think Patrick will be showing some of that later on. So how can we improve? Well, Supreme has given a lot of thought to this, and they've come up with a new guidelines for council meetings. Now, many of us have used a two meeting format for years and years. In fact, my council has always done that, and I thought every council did. But I became aware not too long ago that many councils were just trying to handle everything in a single meeting. And that means that there's going to be lots of discussion, lots of suggestions, lots of new ideas, all being brought up at the council meeting, at the membership meeting. And some of them take two or more hours, which is absolutely incredible. So Supreme recognized this, and so they have now made this 2 meeting format to have an officers meeting, not limited to officers, but they call it the officers meeting. And this is where there is a lot of discussion, new thoughts come out, and things ironed out, so that when you get to the membership meeting, it's a matter of, you know, here is a program that has been suggested. The officers and a committee has looked at this program, and this is what we recommend. Produce the recommendation, and basically it becomes, you know, all in favor, say aye. And so you get through the business parts of your meeting very quickly. The Supreme has also gone through the order of business. I think most of us are familiar with that list of the order of business, and they've reduced a lot of that content for the membership meeting. So this means that when members come to the membership meeting, they're not interested in discussing how many sausages we're going to have on the plate for the breakfast that we're going to have next week. They certainly want to know we are going to be having a breakfast next week and we need volunteers. That's the kind of thing that they're interested in knowing. They want to know programs that are coming up so that they can get involved in programs. But they do not want to be involved in all the discussion. And those who do go to the officers' meeting. So this makes the meeting much more palatable for most people, especially new members. I've even heard it said I would not like a new member for his first introduction to the Knights of Columbus to be one of our business meetings. Well, we want them to be able to come to the business meetings. In fact, Supreme have now even suggested that guests, potential members, can come to the business meetings. It requires a vote by the council to agree on that. But I think this is a great idea, especially if our meetings are now going to be much more palatable, much more interesting, and let's face it, some fun too. So we've got also they've looked at our programs, and they have come out with new strategies for conducting programs virtually, new extensions to existing programs. And Joe George is going to tell us about those in his presentation this afternoon. So first half summary. So COVID-19 certainly hit us hard. We shut down for a while. Many of us are still shut down. We know that. We know that many councils have not got started again. But it's so important that we do get going. We work on the leave no neighbor behind. We work on contacting our brother knights, making sure our brother knights are okay. We work on providing food, clothing, and other things, other necessary things for those who are in need. So what's next? So I'm sure you've heard the Boy Scouts motto, be prepared. Well, I'm asking you, my district deputies, my leaders, the state staff, get familiar with these changes. Get familiar with the changes to the business meetings so that you can talk about them to your councils. Get familiar with the changes to the programs so that you can tell them how to work their programs, even in an environment where we are still in a bit of a shutdown. So now we actually have a challenge. Last night I had a call from State Deputy Corey Coonan, who is the State Deputy of Wisconsin. They and we have had a friendly battle going on. Those of you who keep track of membership numbers know that just about every week we have some kind of talk about Wisconsin is just a little behind us, but they're catching up a bit, so we've got to work harder and so on. So we have a bit of fun with this, but we do want to beat them. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We have fun with it, but we do want to beat them. So last night, State Deputy Corey said, "Hey, I'm thinking I might like to attend your meeting virtually tomorrow." So I said, "How do you plan to do that?" And he said, I'll produce a short video, a challenge to you Minnesotans from us cheeseheads, and we'll see if that helps you. That's great, but we're going to beat you," he said. Well, we'll see about that, right? So I will just get out of this presentation here, and I'll just play that challenge from our neighbors. It's just a short video, and then we'll move to State Membership Director Patrick.
Minnesota district deputies, state officers, and state team. We just got finished up with a great week of meetings here in Wisconsin. Your neighbors here to the east, those cheeseheads. sometimes here I actually like to sit down here at night and look through the glorious history of the Green Bay Packers, that winning franchise here in Wisconsin, and the number of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks we actually have had on our team here over the years. And it gets me excited about how Wisconsin is going to pass by Minnesota here this year in membership. We've got a tough competition going on with State Deputy Dave here at Minnesota. I know that he'll get you guys all riled up and excited, but similar to what we find here in the wall with one of my favorite quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, the 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, and Bart Starr and Brett Favre. Actually, Brett's one of my favorite. I think Minnesota fans might remember him as well. We always usually come out on top in winning. So wanted to wish you guys a happy District Deputy weekend. Hope the year ends well for all of you, and wish you and your families a Merry Christmas, and get forward to a tough competition coming up here with Wisconsin as we look into the year 2021, where Wisconsin will come out on top come June 30th. Thanks again, guys. Viva Jesus.
Viva Jesus. Well, that's what he thinks, right? We know we can do better than that.
Gentlemen, thank you. Welcome to the State Membership Director's address. My address is 15041 65th Place North in Maple Grove, Minnesota. That's my address. Thank you, worthy Supreme State Deputy. Oh, wait, I was supposed to say something else? Can you see my screen? Okay. Yeah, it's sharing. You're seeing it? Are we in presentation mode? There we go. Okay, so I was asked to cover a few different things, starting with Star Council status. I couldn't see your faces, so I don't know if my joke fell over or just died on the vine or what happened there, but you got to at least give me credit for trying. I want to talk about intake status and our net status. I'll talk about our game so far. That seems to be a recurring theme here with Dave. I hope I haven't hope a lot of it's not redundant. Talk about the halftime adjustments for second half, some of which have already been made, but we'll talk about them as well. What Supreme has adjusted, and we're going to win one for the Gipper. Now, we just heard from our friends to the east. We challenged them to replace that background with something a little more Viking appropriate and wear a Viking helmet at the end of the year when they lose the challenge that we provided. So we have a couple of cheeseheads that we'll have to wear if we lose, but I don't think that's going to happen. But hopefully they've already ordered the Viking helmets, but we'll see. So Star Council. This shouldn't be a new topic to you guys. It's the Star Council is pretty much what it takes to be a prosperous council. It's not a plaque that you put on the wall. It's not just an award. It's the reason it exists is because it has a tremendously positive effect on the life of a council, not just this year, but ongoing. What's required in the Star Council Award? We have the McGivney Award for intake, the Founders Award, which is the insurance award. No longer is there a goal or quota numerically for membership. There is actually only a requirement for 2 fraternal benefit nights. The Columbian Award still exists with 16 program credits in 4 program areas. You have to pay your bills. You have to submit the Form 1728, the fraternal survey, and the Form 365, which is program chairman. And then we have to be safe environment compliant. That's pretty much the way Supreme has adjusted the Star Council requirements this year. The one thing about the Columbian Award is that we no longer have to, there are no longer any required programs, right? So how are we doing so far? What's going great? Dave already talked about this. I'm going to get to brass tacks and tell you guys where we are. Our goal for the state was 1,050 for the year. We actually are at 235 where we were as of December 1st. That means that 42% of the year has elapsed, but we're only at 22% of our intake goal. As far as our status in Division 2, Minnesota is actually a jurisdiction in Division 2, categorized by size of the jurisdiction. We're number 6. We've kind of stayed at number 6 most of the year. Our net goal is actually 570. We're sitting at 164. It fluctuates up and down 1 or 2 positions, but right now we're number 5 in Division 2 for net. Now we were number 4 for quite a while there in November, but we bounced back to number 5. And net means deaths and suspensions, right? So if we have a large numbers of suspensions that happen, it's going to affect our net number. And we know this is happening during challenging field conditions, right? So it's like playing outdoors in Minnesota in November. The field conditions are challenging. We don't know if it's going to be 60 degrees or 40 degrees. We don't know if we're going to have a COVID outbreak or not. COVID has changed everything for everybody, but we're going to stay positive and focus on the things we can do. The problem is part of our team's still on the bus. It's kind of hard to field a team when part of them are still on the bus, right, guys? So, and we know that there are the councils in your districts that are not meeting and are not running programs. That's part of our team, right? And if they're not playing, they're not contributing to the overall success of the jurisdiction. They're not contributing to the success of their of your district, but they're also not contributing to be the men that we're called to be in our parishes, right? So, and they're probably not terribly happy about that, right? So we're having a lot of turnovers. The councils that are not meeting or running programs are not having an intake, right? So as any coach, any good football coach will tell you, we got to reduce the turnovers. And we're going to figure out some ways to do that together. And it's up to us to do that. How are we doing with the Regional Membership Cup? Dave promised you I would tell you about this, and I'm going to meet Dave's promise. This is where the current standings you're going to see for the Regional Membership Cup as of December 1st. You can see, now if you don't know, basically this is a measurement of our regions by intake against their sort of ranking for membership in this jurisdiction of Minnesota. And you can see that Region 4, Bob Hurd is leading at 19.9% of goal. And we established goals, as a split out of the 1,050. You can see that Orv, Region 8 is at 19.44%, basically a half a point behind Region 4. And Mark Peters' region is at 18.7. Those are the top 3. At any given Sunday, this whole thing can change. Any given month, this whole thing can change. It just takes 1 or 2 Delta drives and the whole picture can change. So don't give up. We know that that there is a vaccine coming. We know there are reasons for optimism, and there are things we can do. We got a lot of smart people on this Zoom call, people a lot smarter than me, people highly motivated and capable. And I'm not here to tell you what the answer is. I'm here to ask you to help us figure that out, right, guys? So I do want to reiterate that I want to thank you for taking time on a beautiful Saturday morning here in December. There's not a cloud in the sky as far as I can tell. And instead of being out doing things, you're here on the Zoom call with us. So thank you for that. And thank you for your attention. District-wise, how are we doing? This is the intake numbers ranked by district. Just if you want to quickly look, this is the top 20. We have 60 some odd council districts in the state. And this is strictly against your district quotas. You know what your quotas are. You can see them in Officers Online. And actually, we're not even calling quotas. It really should say goal, but You know, this shows that there are councils and districts that are fully in action despite all of the hurdles of this pandemic. And I think what we can do is figure out a way to share information and how we can do things, sort of share information and share lessons learned and find ways to do things. When right now we're kind of locking down again, it's presenting more challenges. Oops. But we will find ways to overcome them together, right? So that's kind of what this whole fraternal thing is. I want to congratulate the top districts in the state and encourage everybody to not give up, just to, as the Supreme Knight said, put our shoulders to the wheel and have a missionary attitude. So evangelizing both the church and the order together. As far as the intake progress, you know, the McGivney Award is really meeting your goal, right? So that's the same for your district, the same for the councils. This is just a reality. I'm not dwelling on anything that's not positive, but here we have 222 councils that haven't brought in a single member. We have 36 councils with 1 new member, 18 with 2, and 8 with 3. Carrying that further, we do have 1 council with 12 new members, 1 council with 8, 2 with 7, 2 with 6, and 1 with 4. Now if you guys don't know this, what is it referring to here? First hat helmet stars. These are the guys who did great plays. Usually you do this after the game, but we're going to do it at halftime. These are the councils that get a star for their performance in the first half. These are councils that are ahead of their Father McGivney pace for their goals. So St. Paul 11946 is at 100%. 5636 in Collegeville is at 89%. 6374 Burnsville Egan is at 78%, and 5276 in Sartell is at 70%. You got 3 councils that are at 67%, Cottage Grove, St. Bonifacius, and Wabasso. So congratulations, guys. And like I said, keep your shoulders to the wheel. Where else are we? We're going to give a star to 6791 in Duluth for 60%. That's ahead of the 42% benchmark, right? And Clearwater and Freeport are at 50% of their intake goal. So that's great. Let's keep that going. And we can see that St. Louis Park is at 44%, and 4481 and 14616 Gray Eagle and Cannon Falls are at 40%, just behind the 42% mark. They're on pace for accomplishing Star Council this year. These are the guys who are closing. 13359, the award-winning Maple Grove Council is at 37%. And you can see that we have a whole bunch of them here at 33%. These are guys that are playing. We have a team on the field. We are playing, and we're going to keep playing. We're just going to figure out how we're going to play the second half together, right? So we don't end up having to wear cheese heads at the end of the year. These are the guys who are playing on special teams. They're at 25%. St. Cloud and Graham. Keep up the good fight, guys. What have we done? Supreme actually started the year with some adjustments. They changed the playbook. They're helping us figure out how to do this COVID thing. And if we're playing with the old playbook, that's on us, right, guys? So let's look at what Supreme did to help us before the season started. This is kind of in the March timeframe when all hell broke loose, pardon my reference. And we basically shut everything down. Everything's not shut down. So the goals for the Star Council Award were changed from 7% to 5%. We changed the insurance goal to 2 fraternal benefits nights instead of the numeric goal. We know that there's no Supreme per capita or other assessments for Catholic advertising and culture of life this year. That takes the financial pressure off our councils. Columbian Award, we know there are no required programs. I said that before, and didn't say this, but there are now additional programs in each category that count as featured programs. What does that mean? That means, and Joe will tell you this later probably, featured programs are they're programs that councils can run that count for 2 program credits in each category, right? So if you run a featured program, instead of counting as 1 credit, it counts as 2. That basically they've doubled the number of featured programs in each category to try to make it easier for us to accomplish the Columbian Award. Webinars and more webinars on COVID operations. They've started those in March, and they didn't just go away and disappear into the ether. They're accessible on the Supreme website. If you don't know where they are, I'd be more than happy to share that information with you later. I'm not going to share it here. By the way, Dave and I and your state staff are always available to answer your questions, to help you any way we can. That's really the only reason we're in these positions in the first place, right? So again, I appreciate your being here. I appreciate everything you've been doing. I appreciate the struggles you're encountering. We're going to stay the course, guys, right? We're going to make a difference in any way we can. You know, as Father Gabriel said earlier, we want to pray on this and figure out, what is the Lord calling us to do? What is the Lord calling us to say? Who is the Lord calling us to be in every situation? So I think sometimes if you're like me, it feels like it's all up to me, and it's really not, right? It's not up to us. It's up to, you know, God can accomplish great things, and we just have to just align ourselves with Him, and let Him work through us. So what have we done on the training website? If you guys don't know about it, on the state website, there's a menu that says resources, and under resources, there's a whole bunch of new training stuff, right? So there's actually a training page under the resources. On there, there's links for how to do Zoom meetings. If you're having trouble with your councils being hesitant to run meetings virtually, the Zoom meeting, for example, or GoToMeeting or some other tool like that, this is a step-by-step procedure that we published early on in the year to help councils with that. Not only that, but our state technologist, Peter Sager, is available to help on a case-by-case basis as necessary. So really, we want to be sure that you are aware that we do want to help with these situations, and we do want to encourage everybody to be using these tools as much as we can. My suggestion to you guys who have the really technology averse people, try to get them started with something like a free conference call, like freeconferencecall.com. They can just dial up and have a meeting on a conference call. And that's sort of we'll call that an entry drug to the whole idea of a Zoom meeting. If you can get them on a conference call, the next step is just to add video to it, right? So if they get used to doing that, it's a good way to, I think, kind of get them started on and enable them to meet in some way if they haven't been so far. We also have videos on that same page for the Online Form 100, how to do the prospect tab. And there are also a bunch of links to financial secretary training resources right there on that page. So if you aren't aware of this stuff, please, after this meeting or sometime early next week, take a look at that page and look at the resources that are available to you and your councils. Where they're out there to be used, and we're hoping you're aware of them. And if you're not, there you go. What else have we been doing? Well, at halftime here, we know that the pregame, we actually, even before this halftime, we actually decided to change our cadence on emails, right? So there's emails coming out, gazillion emails from Supreme. It seemed like everybody thought the answer to the pandemic was sending an email, and it was overwhelming. And we heard that, Supreme heard that, and they've cut back on their email cadence. And Dave and I and our state team have tried to do a weekly email to either regional consultants and district deputies or Grand Knights and financial secretaries. We've kind of alternated that as best we can. There are still ad hoc emails that we send out, and we're hoping you're getting them. If you're not getting them, from the state's account. We use a tool called Constant Contact. If you're not getting them, check your spam or junk mail folders, because some of these email services categorize them as a marketing email, right? So it might be in some category called marketing if you have a folder like that in your email. If you haven't been getting those, we've been sending them. Contact us and we'll help you figure out why you haven't been getting them. We also have we've been doing and have a virtual exemplification page on the state website. It has links for both of the state exemplifications that we're running every Wednesday night, and links to the other resources that are available to you, meaning the on-demand degrees that Supreme is offering on video, and any other options that might be available for in-person degrees. And my information's on the website. What else have we done? So there's a new guidebook for running programs virtually that was sent out by Supreme. I believe Joe's covering that either later today or tomorrow. I think it's today. You know, we've got to use virtual means. Our kids are using that virtual means to learn, and it shouldn't be that great of a step for us to figure out how to help our councils use those same tools. That said, I understand the hurdles, so I'm not casting any aspersions. We just have to figure out a way to do it, as I said earlier. How is it that we can help our councils adopt these tools? Do we need to provide additional training? What do we need to do differently? Let's figure that out. Dave already mentioned the meeting guidelines revisions, the planning meeting, business meeting, both using virtual and live. The thing that caught my eye on that thing was really they want us to ongoingly include virtual meetings, even with our live meetings when we're back in person, because it opens the door to lots more people attending meetings, which can't be a bad thing, right? Now, if you remember back in the old days, or if you were part of a high school team that was small, you might have had players playing both sides of the ball, meaning offense and defense. That basically wears everybody out, and you've got to have a lot more endurance. If we get our teammates off the bus, then we may not have to be, may not get worn out. We'll have to play on both sides of the ball. So let's do what we can. What else do we need to do? We need to reduce the penalties, guys. We need to convert online members to council members. There's a gazillion of them. Okay, not quite a gazillion. There's a lot of online members who have that are attached to councils that have not been brought into the council. That's low-hanging fruit, as we call it, and we're hoping you guys will take renewed vigor to that challenge and engage the members in our missions, get them into a degree, and get them into councils. Those are the turnovers, right? So, and if you guys are contacting these members, I think Immediate Past State Deputy Mark mentioned this yesterday. If you're contacting them and they refuse to join the council, they have no interest in it, they just want to have insurance or whatever their reason is, let us know you contacted them. And actually there's a reject button on the prospect tab. The council can actually reject them with a reason, and that'll put them in a different list, so we know they've been contacted and they're not still a prospect in that sense, right? So we got to play the whole 60 minutes, guys. We can't just let up. We have to help when we're needed. We have to invite when we're able, and not just once or twice a year. There are still councils that think they only need to have one church drive a year, if that. And if they serve multiple parishes, they only have to do it in one of their parishes. We need to have the most possible success. We need to make it an ongoing game. We need to play the whole time. We need to play all over the field. So I don't want to belabor the analogy too much, but basically we just need to be intentional and do what we can as much as we can. Every program, as you guys know, is an opportunity to invite members. It's anytime you contact people and you're providing an example. These programs provide examples of who we are and how we treat each other. It's an opportunity to invite families to be part of who we are and what we do. Let's talk about incentives. Woohoo! So what do we do about incentives? Well, incentives were a mixed bag, right? But what did we do? We added a flash incentive, a quarter zip jacket. The winners of that incentive were Jesse Kozlowski, Jim Stahlberger, Jim Sinclair, and Ken Sinclair. Nobody earned the Fast Start incentive. Now, we do have an ongoing incentive right now, this very moment. And if you bring in members using online membership and have them enter your number as the proposer, you will earn either the limited edition challenge coin, which looks like this in person. That's a artist rendering there, or the No Neighbor Left Behind mask, which I'm sure you've seen by now, just by bringing in one new member. There are other reasons to do so, obviously, but that's the new and exciting news on incentives. As far as the Alpha Delta Drive incentive, kind of disappointing. There's a lot of people focusing on what we can't do and thinking that if we can't hold a traditional Delta Church Drive, then we can't do a Delta Drive, and that's just not the case. Pandemically adjusted Delta Drives are the way to go now, using some of the elements of Delta Drives, as John has explained in his training. He's been offering every month. We do have 4 councils that earned the challenge coin for their grand night and their membership director, but none of our district deputies or regional consultants actually completed everything necessary to earn the district deputy Alpha Delta Drive incentive. The good news is there's a beta Delta Drive incentive that everybody can earn, and I'm encouraging you guys to look at doing that. If you guys hold a Delta Drive anytime now and you report that to me, you guys might be doing Delta Drives, but if you are, I don't know about it. The only way I can know about it is if you submit the report that I've sent you guys to fill out. I think that's the only way to be fair about awarding these. So if you do have a Delta Drive that you didn't report the number of prospects you got from it or even members, if you complete that, we can still make the award to you guys, okay? So go back to your councils and encourage them to do that. Okay. Monthly top recruiters. They earn a $25 gift card, and to qualify, you have to have at least 3 new members in the month. In July, we had 2 of them, Michael Harrington and Chris Duna. August, David Pritchett. September, nobody. October, Walter Kiefer with 6 new members. November, Gerald Mayer brought in 4 new members. As far as the resurrection by Easter, that's basically the incentive for councils that haven't brought in any members in the last 2 years. So far, none of them have shown progress. And if that's not correct, please contact me and let me know. But that's what my reporting is telling me. The getaway incentive, this is what you've all been waiting for. So as of December 1st, brand new, hot off the presses numbers. This shows, in case you aren't familiar with it, we are offering your choice of 3 different trips to Breezy Point, to the person who wins the drawing that's going to happen at the state convention. Now, for every 3 members, you get 1 entry in the drawing. So far, you can see this is the list of the people who have earned entries. Andrew Poole, Walter Kiefer, Chris Duna, Joe Amon, Michael Harrington, Gerald Mayer, David Pritchett, Dennis Duran, and Chris Massoglia, plus Brian Lackermeyer are the only guys in the drawing. Now, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but you know that the lower the number of entries there are, the greater your chance of winning. Just saying, we can play the game. Here are the guys that have 2 that are just 1 member away from an entry, which would sort of change the dynamic. If you guys are on this list, it looks like there's somebody named Watmafon here. He brought in 2 new members. He just needs 1 to get an entry in that getaway drawing. So, you know, just a little bit more push. I don't know if you have any relatives left, Dave, but you know, maybe there's maybe there's somebody else we can. 1 more left. Okay, you have 1 prospect, so we can just with a little bit of effort, these guys can all get into the drawing and make it a little more interesting and exciting. If it goes well, this is just sort of the beginning of how we can approach incentives. 12 Nights by Christmas. I thought that we didn't have anybody like this, and this wasn't even worth talking about, but I checked on the stats and we're doing pretty well here. We got James Edelson has actually earned, has already earned this $100 check, as has Dean Fladmo. Basically, the incentive here is for your district to have 12 new members, you earn a $100 check. Hey, Dennis, you're two new members away by December 25th from earning this $100. Tim, you're at 9, and Patrick, you're at 8. I'm not sure what you can do about that, but whatever you can, it's worth $100 to you. So congratulations to you guys who have earned it, and keep charging for those who are close. Never surrender. So we created a new incentive for the Coach for Kids program. We actually had a state Coach for Kids program where it was a matching program. And we had 20 councils participating, and we offered an incentive to them to bring in members, because one of the reasons with Supreme supports us with a match and any other support with Coach for Kids is they really wanted to have an effect on our membership intake, as well as whether it's short-term or long-term. We wanted to show some kind of results here, so we added this incentive after learning that some of the other incentives hadn't gone anywhere. And St. Louis Park brought in 3 members and they earned the $300 check, and we're awarding $25 checks to Maple Grove and Cross Lake. There are 4 councils who brought in members and therefore will earn challenge coins. So issues and opportunities, member engagements. So our council's billing if they're not meeting. District deputies, we would ask you to sort of follow up with that to make sure that there is action from the financial secretary on billing. Since most councils are in the calendar year billing cycle and they should be billing in the next week or so, if they haven't already. We want to make sure that that's going to continue, and fraternal operations, at least in that sense, will continue. And if there's something they need that we can help provide, let us know. But honestly, if we don't ask and we don't help them, who will? So let's do what we can as the leaders that we're called to be. So I think that was all I had. Was there anything I missed, Worthy State Deputy?
No,
I guess what I would say, guys, is encourage you guys, keep up the good fight. You're all doing a great job. The future is bright, and we can make a real difference together. It's going to be a different holiday season. I try to get the little holiday magic going behind me here from Hogwarts, but I think we can make a difference together. It's not all doom and gloom. It's going to be different, but it's going to be a nice holiday, and there are things we can do together. What do you say, Deputy?
Thank you, Patrick. That was great. I don't know if everybody noticed, but Lloyd popped a little chat message to everybody that 12 of the brothers on the recruiting list were field agents. I'm in many meetings with other state deputies, and one of them, I can't remember which jurisdiction he was from, he said, I asked my Grand Knights if Supreme hired a professional recruiter at no cost for you, for every one of your council, would you meet your goals? And they all said, oh yeah, no doubt at all. And he said, well, guess what? You already have one. He's called a field agent. So invite him to all your meetings, invite him to all your events, and let him do his job, and he will help you meet your goal. So I just wanted to add that. Now we've got we've touched on training a couple of times. So we now have our regional training director, John Olson. Welcome, John, from Supreme. Do you need to Do you have any presentations, or are you going to just talk and, okay, so I'll not be your co-host then. Please go ahead, John. Thank you. Welcome,
Thank
John.
you. Thank you, worthy state deputy. Yes,
Sorry,
I
I better just mention he is from Wisconsin, but, that's okay.
well, I'm sure no one's going to hold that against me. I do support the Packers because, well, just like everyone in Minnesota, they support their home team also. So background is better. Thank you on that. Thank you, worthy state deputy. What we'll be covering in my presentation today is basically an overview of how the district deputy position should be working and helping you guys. The first thing is making sure that everyone is happy and thanking everyone that attended today. I think our state deputy has. A lot of our presenters have done that, and I continue that presentation adage of doing that for you. And I hope all you and your families are staying well and safe during COVID. I've always viewed the district deputy position as a critical, the most critical area of the Knights of Columbus because of what you guys do, because of your leadership, particularly during the pandemic. And it's more important than ever that you keep up your leadership, and thank you for your leadership. It's important than ever before in our time as a Knight of Columbus. Your ability to teach and train and inspire and motivate your council is key to the success of that council and the state and Supreme in achieving the goals that we all want to meet. It's also critical to and important to know that you know your councils very well and are able to identify and resolve their issues. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that through communication. All of us have mentioned in the past few presentations that we are sending a lot of information down to you. And you have responded by saying, oh, that's a lot of information. Could you shorten it up? Well, the way that we shorten it up is we put more information in smaller, different emails. The thing that we're lacking in communication, because I believe communication is a two-way street, we're not getting much information back from the councils through the district deputies, which you guys are focused on doing, about how this information is being received. How is this information being used? Is it being used? Are they looking at and, well, this guy's office rocker and throwing it off into the trash bin? How are we being perceived down at the council level? And that's an interesting thing that I encourage you guys to send information to your state leadership team. That includes Joe and Patrick as a state membership and program chair people, and inform them. How can we curtail things and make them better if we're not being notified on how they're doing so far? Now, we still have 6 months left. By no means is anything done. We can surge forward and have those things ready for you. So give us some information. Let us know how we're doing. Make it a priority in the second half to communicate with your council leaders regularly. Now, there's no substitute for regular communication, which is in-person communication and council leaders. If you can do that and do that safely, by all means do it. You should also try to hold a monthly call with each of the top council leaders and address any issues and share the best practices that you are learning today and learning as you talk to other council leaders on what is being successful, what is not being successful. Supreme does not hold the patent on only successful programs come out of Supreme. Where we get most of our programs is from the council level, and we put them up and change it into a little bit more defaults and cookie cutter things and send them back down to other councils. So give us that information. Focus on showing councils what they can do and how to do it. A lot of things happen where people don't understand. They see a barrier in front of them. Oh, well, we can't go that way. Well, they don't see where the barrier ends. Think of a road closed. Where does the road open again? That's where we have to find. That's how we have to get to. So how do we get back to that road of being successful with this road closed thing? We have to find an alternate route. We have to find a way to get there. And that's the whole purpose of the last 8 months with COVID, trying to find the proper way of getting to our success by an alternate means. Holding council officers accountable is one of those means. Now, I'm not saying that you need to badger people. Please, if you think that you're badgering councils, please stop doing that. Encourage them, help them. If they have a problem, find a way to help them solve the problem. We want to be brother knights. Brother knights help each other succeed. So keep that also. Ask each council to assess progress against their strategic action plan. Did they make one? And make necessary adjustments. Who knew that we'd be 8 months into this COVID thing? Who knew in March when we were doing that? We were all being told that we're flattening a curve. And it's like, okay, how long is the curve going to go? Well, now we know it's over 8 months. So we can't be complacent until all this goes over. We can't hide away. We have to go out and help each other profess what we do as knights, which is help the Catholic faith. The Supreme Knight mentioned something in his message about how the Catholic faith is shrinking. And as fellow Catholics during the St. John Paul II, the Vatican Council, we talked about evangelizing, helping people understand the great things that the Catholic Church can do and how we need to have them and enlighten them on the great things that we can do with them. Make sure that we're sharing the best practices regularly and just not every district meeting, every month. Encourage every brother knight to review the Blessed Michael McGivney documentary and the Witness to the World videos that you can find on the Supreme website, and maybe even show these during council meetings. They're very inspiring. Get all the councils in your district to recruit active. Using your programs. A lot of people think a Delta drive, the only way that you can recruit is during a church drive. Well, yes, if everybody was still there. But as most of you are well aware of, we're at maybe 25. Some of our churches are even closed. 25% occupancy, even closed. So we can't use that. We can't rely on that. So we have to find alternate means. The best alternate means that we know of is using your programs. Helping people and interacting with people that attend your programs to recruit. Get all the councils in your district implementing the faith in action, leaving no neighbor behind. This goes back to keeping faith in front of us. Our faith in action programs help us as knights be better Catholics and help others who are maybe going off a different path to come back to the Catholic faith. So how do we recruit people? Well, the easiest way to recruit people right now is have them enroll in online membership. Online membership until December 31st, which is under 4 weeks away from being ending. We still have to work at that and have people understand that McGivney 2020 as a promotional code is a safe means of getting people to join online. We've developed templates and church bulletin ads that you can use and make sure that we're using and being effective communicators in the bulletin and in other ways and means. relevant radio, things like that are also very important during this time. Make it a priority to have at least a virtual exemplification, if not a live one, in your districts, because that's the only way that a council member can be added in. Schedule and promote these. There's the on-demand on the Supreme website. Make sure that they are using that. Continue to promote the Supreme monthly online exemplifications. There are in English and Spanish. If you might even have somebody in French, they can take it in French if they want. Use these opportunities. Identify your council training needs. What do they need? And get that to them. Lean on myself and Joe Ramirez, your regional growth directors, for support. If you're having an issue, by all means, keep your state in the loop and ask us for help. We are here to assist you. As Patrick mentioned, all of us are in these upper positions to help the councils be successful. Work with your councils to schedule spring church drives, fraternal benefit nights, and promote the parish and invite members to attend. Engage the general and field agents and making sure that they know what's going on. Make sure everyone is understanding what the Knights of Columbus do. Using that Witness to the World video is an excellent way of doing that. Encourage councils to show the Supreme Convention highlights video and Into the Breach videos at virtual meetings or council events or fraternal benefit nights. Those are excellent things that we could use to really benefit and make people understand at the council level what we're trying to do. A few things on the beatification. The beatification happened, yes, but it is a year-long event. I encourage every council to celebrate this beatification. Not many founders of organizations get beatified. So encourage people to enrich themselves with the beatification of a simple parish priest to that beatification and celebrate that. DD check-ins. I will be I will not be. Your state deputy and your state team will be sending out an invitation for you guys to have a little conversation and talk about goals with me and possibly your state team through the second half of January. Those dates will be between January 18th and January 28th, and you will get that invitation from your state deputy on that stuff. There'll be a link to sign up, and it'll be a short conversation, under an hour, and we'll talk about it. It'll be interaction. I won't be shoving information at you. I'll be accepting information from you. So keep that in mind also. It was mentioned at the council meeting structure has changed. Come December 17th, I don't know if I'm taking Joe's thunder here, but there is a webinar to explain this on December 17th. If you wish to be registered and witness that webinar, please by all means go to kofc.org/webinar. It'll be the first one listed as an upcoming webinar. There's another webinar on the 10th talking about the Global Wheelchair Mission also, if you feel that you would like to learn more about that also. So those are the things that I had to mention. I hope that you found it informative. I'm not sure if I would call it entertaining, but informative. I was going to mention Brother Patrick about his Hogwarts background. Maybe people weren't getting that because you were saying Christmas wrong. If you were in Hogwarts, you should be saying Happy Christmas, not Merry Christmas. So just things like that. The lovely English, David, you know this well. So yes. Anyhow, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Merry Christmas to you guys, and I hope that we can be successful together. So thank you, worthy State Deputy.
Thank you, John. And by the way, yeah, yes, some applause there from Lloyd. I saw that. Yeah, thank you. I think you all have little buttons for doing applause and stuff, but we'll not bother with those things. But yeah, thank you again, John. We appreciate all you do for training. And by the way, as Patrick mentioned, we do have a training page that you can get to from the About menu on the state website, and we keep that up to date. These two webinars, the one on the 17th, I certainly have that under the news. If you go to news page, by the way, on the website, you'll see a couple of things. See things that get added, you know, the more recent pages that get added. There's one that actually includes all the information about the new changes for the business meetings, and that includes a link to the webinar. But I will also make sure I get that on the training page, because you've got to put things in different places so people they pop up in the most unexpected places. So we'll be keeping the website up to date. Now there was something else I was going to mention there and it went out of my mind, but okay. So we will be ending this meeting shortly. And in fact, the new meeting will start at, oh, I know what I was going to say. The new meeting will start at 1 o'clock. It is a new link, so click on the other link. Don't try and get there from this link. This meeting will be closed. Yeah, what I was going to mention is this afternoon's meeting will be mostly about programs, but we will start with the video that John mentioned, the Father McGivney, A Witness for the World, which is about a 25 minutes, something like that, 25-30-minute video. So that will start at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So I encourage you to be in plenty of time so that you don't miss the beginning of that. So I think that's all I'd like to say for this morning. Thank you for your attention. Thank you to the presenters. Everything was great, especially Father Gabriel. If Father Gabriel is still there, are you still there, Father? Maybe not. Okay. I was going to ask him to lead us in a prayer for lunch, but we can do that together. I think we'll just pray the simple prayer for lunch. So let's do it in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you again, everybody. See you at 1 o'clock.